The Voice is 88.7 cable FM and KYDS 91.5 FM Sacramento.
Welcome to Action Callers. I'm Reva Camiel, your host and action coach. You're on the right station if you're tired of just hearing complaints with a commitment to find a solution. Today our community changemakers are Barbara Weiss of the Carmichael-Arden Neighborhood Association and Gary Page of the Alliance of Neighborhoods. These two people are at the grassroots level of our community who see and experience the problems in our community while they're still manageable. They alert their neighbors early about issues that need what I call anticipatory crisis intervention. Does your community have a neighborhood alliance? If no, you can hear from Barbara Weiss. And you can also hear from Gary Page about what you can do to get one started. If you have one, you can call us on our open line also and get ideas and strategy from our changemaker guests right now. The number you can call, you can reach us at 916-456-5199. So call us if you're open to generously listening to the ideas of others. That is what this program is committed to, exploring all sides of an issue. Actually, you can also call to change the topic altogether if you have an issue that you find yourself complaining about every day. Then our changemaker guests and I will support you in finding out what action you can take to improve or change the problem. So call me if you're willing to be coached by our community changemakers to turn your complaint into a solution. Give us a call at 916-456-5199. I am your host and action coach, Dr. Reva Camiel, a psychotherapist in private practice in Sacramento. For those of you who are with us for the first time, Action Callers is committed to bringing changemakers, people who have seen problems to be solved in our communities and have taken action to alleviate those problems. I urge you to call right now and share your ideas and concerns with today's changemaker, Barbara Weiss? Weiss?
Weiss.
Barbara Weiss, I'll get it right. Gary Page, me, and your host and community action coach. Get out your pencil and paper to write down some of the events and meetings and protests that Barbara and Gary and I know about that are taking place right here in River City, Sacramento. If you know of any other events that you think we should know about, call me, Reva Camiel, at 456-5199 right now. You can be part of the solution rather than being part of the problem. Call us now at open line 916-456-5199. Barbara, would you please tell us a little bit about the path that led you to be in the forefront of working with your community?
Okay, Reba, I'd be happy to do that. About a year ago, I was at a community forum sponsored by the police and the SCAN, Sacramento County Alliance of Neighborhoods. And I was sitting with a group of people from out in the unincorporated area of the county, out in Arden Arcade area in Carmichael, and we were talking about some of the issues that were going on in our neighborhoods that we felt were not being addressed by our county supervisors and by county staff. So we knew that there were lots of homeowner associations and neighborhood associations out in our areas, and that people were trying to fight individual issues separately from each other, and we determined that it would be a good idea to band together and share our knowledge and share all the enthusiasm and expertise that these individual homeowner and neighborhood groups had.
Well, let me ask you this, Barbara. What got you even to the very first your own neighborhood meeting?
Well, the neighborhood that I moved into is a long-established neighborhood. It's now 50 years old, and being new to the area and new to the neighborhood, I wanted to see what other people in my neighborhood were about and what our whole area was about. And there's a lot of history in my neighborhood, And
Good history, bad history?
oh no, good history. It's a little neighborhood area called Del Paso Manor, often confused with Del Paso Heights, but we're located off Watt Avenue in the Arden Arcade area, back behind Country Club Plaza and Tower Books. And it's a homeowners group of about 1,700 homes, and we do. It was formed originally because of issues that had cropped up in the neighborhood that people were concerned about, and I think that's how most neighborhood groups are formed, and Gary can probably talk a little bit about that.
So has that group, the Arden Carmichael one, been in existence for 50 years?
No. My homeowners group has been in existence for 50 years. But
that's what I mean. Yours.
Right, the Del Paso Manor Homeowners Association.
Oh, yours is the Del Paso.
Right.
Okay.
But what we did then is I myself representing Del Paso Manor, and then several other homeowner groups in the Arden Arcade and Carmichael area came together. And so now we have about 17 different homeowner groups that are meeting consistently to talk about issues in our area in general.
And that's called the Arden Carmichael group? Or?
We renamed ourselves about 3 months ago, and now we call ourselves the Northeast Neighborhoods Coalition.
Oh, okay.
Because we feel we represent the northeast part of the county, outside the city limits. So it's the unincorporated area in northeast Sacramento County.
Great. So let's hear a little bit from you, Gary, about the Alliance Group.
Yeah, well, let me talk first about North Laguna Creek, because that's where I got my start at the grassroots.
Great.
North Laguna Creek is a new community. Actually, we named it, we created it. We had an area that I moved into that is near Cosumnes College in South Sacramento. Now, South Sacramento has a very negative connotation, and we are also close to Valley High and Mack Road, and these are parts of the city that people don't think too highly of. Because there are problems there, problems of that were created by politicians who put too many apartments and other public policies that really aren't healthy for communities. And
let me ask you this: do those communities also have a community group?
Yeah, they do.
And are they a part of your alliance?
Well, they are. They're not. And there's a variety of groups that are established in Meadowview and throughout South Sacramento, and we meet as Area 2, which is an organization created by the city. So the city itself of Sacramento has created a organization of neighborhoods, and there are 4 areas, and so I get to see and meet and work with other neighborhood groups at the Area 2 meeting. In North Laguna Creek, though, we had a problem in that we didn't have a good identity. We were between the city and the county along the border. Laguna was a new community coming in, and we were right off of Laguna Creek. So we wanted to improve our identity or create an identity so that people living there would feel like they belonged somewhere. Where do you live? Well, we wanted to be able to tell them that we lived somewhere that people would recognize. So we created the name North Laguna Creek. And I got involved at a high school where I went because there were some ladies, Sue Earlin and Pam Cranholtz, who had wanted to build a park. We moved into the area, and there were some older homes and newer homes, and the city had land for a park, but it didn't have any money. So the city said, no park, you're going to have to wait 10 years. And we said...
By that time, your kids, if you had kids, would be all grown.
Yeah, it wasn't acceptable. And so we said, no way. Listen, let us build our own park. We'll tax ourselves, and we'll raise the money, and we'll build the park. And so we were the first neighborhood group to get city approval to have a Mello-Roos bond. We went to our neighbors, and we said, would you support this park? We had to go and conduct an election. So we got the 2/3 required. We got the money, and then
Good for you.
Yeah, I know it. It was great. And so now we've got one of the best parks in the city. The people love it. It really turned out wonderful.
What's it called?
North Laguna Creek Park.
I can see you're proud of your neighborhood.
We're proud of our park, proud of our neighborhood, and we're proud. Every year we celebrate Park Day, which is coming up. I believe it's the 10th of June, where we have 5,000 to 8,000 people and fireworks
Whoa.
and bands, and it's all free to the public.
Anybody can come from any other
Anybody
neighborhood?
Oh, absolutely. Our park's so nice that we have a regional draw. So it's always filled, and we have, it's incredible to think that the community was able to pull this off.
So you had you got some kind of funding from, what was that, Mellow Roost?
Mellow Roost. We taxed ourselves, so everybody pays $90 a year for 10 years, and we're in a special assessment district. Most communities in the city pays for their park. But because the city was broke and because we were impatient, we said, we'll pay extra to have a park in our neighborhood. And so we put some strings on the city. We said, no, we want to control how the park is built. We want to oversee the funds so that the city folks don't take it for some other purpose. So we had
you guys were kind of alert.
We were alert, and we wanted to make sure that this extra money that came out of our pockets that no one else was paying was really going to go toward the park.
And how did you yourself personally decide to join the group or to be active?
Well, it was a coworker told me that there was a meeting at the high school about the park. And so I went and I listened, and I was turned on by the passion of Sue Erlin and others who really were, making a good point that we needed to have a park. So I put my name on the list.
So somebody...
They called me.
Great. And so, and now you're the president of that?
Yeah, I'm just now finishing my term as president. Now, that's the North Laguna Creek Neighborhood Association, and I was just elected in January as president of Sacramento County Alliance of Neighborhoods. So
it's kind of dangerous to go to a meeting and have inspiring speakers. You don't know where it'll lead.
Well, it is.
That's great.
People with passion, they turn you on.
So it takes one person one or two people of passion, and then inviting a few other people to come, and
absolutely.
And
before
you never know,
you've got a group.
You got a group.
Got a group going on.
And you need a group to make big changes, don't you?
You do.
You do. One person can have the idea.
Yeah.
And they could just fall away from the group after a little bit too, and then other people take on the passion.
We do have change in leadership, and we build that into our group. And so once we had the park built, and we said, well, what's our purpose now? And we thought about other things that we could do to help the community to develop properly. And so now we have some areas of our community that aren't developed. So we oversee planning, city planning, and we interview every developer.
What do you mean you oversee? Oh, you...
Well, we're the main group that represents as advocates our neighbors. And so if a developer wants to come in and build, they have to come to us first. And we tell them if we like it or if we don't. And this is really an honor, I think, that our council member, Bonnie Pinnell, gave to us. She tells developers who want to build that the first step is to come see the neighborhood group, because we want projects that will fit with the neighborhood. And as a neighborhood, we're stakeholders. We have investments in our homes, and we want to see a community develop that will be healthy.
Barbara, what listening to Gary, what did that kind of push on? What buttons did it push for you, and what memories did it push for you?
Well, when I first moved into our neighborhood, in my local neighborhood in Del Paso Manor, our homeowner association, a lot of the people had been involved in the neighborhood association for many years, and they were getting older, and they wanted to pass it on to younger people. So we did not want to elect a president and vice president, but a group of us agreed to be a steering committee and continue the neighborhood association, although not in the same formal way that they had done in the past.
Okay, and we're just going to we'll be back.
You're listening to 91.5 The Voice.
So do you want me to just continue?
Yeah, please do.
So some of the older people in our neighborhoods, they felt as though they had done their 20 or 30 years of leading the neighborhood association, and they wanted to turn it over to the younger people. We have a large turnover in our area of people who are moving into retirement homes or moving out of the neighborhood to move in with their children. And we have a lot of new young people moving into our area, which we think is wonderful. And we have good schools because we're in the San Juan School District. So we we are seeing a turnover, and the younger people took over. And it's hard. It takes a lot of time to run a neighborhood association and keep up with the issues that are going on, not only in your area, but in the larger area, so that if something is going to come along that's going to impact your neighborhood, you can really pay attention to it and stay on top of things.
Yeah, so what are some of the kinds of things that you have to stay, put some energy into?
I think Gary mentioned one, and that's development. We're seeing a lot of development going on the outskirts of Sacramento. But what people are not necessarily paying attention to are these little infill projects that are happening both in the city and in the unincorporated area in the county.
Is that a new word, infill?
Well, it is a word that has mixed meanings for different groups. Environmentalists feel that infill is really good because they would rather see that than sprawl. But those of us in our neighborhoods who are seeing developers buy 3 or 4 acres and jam-pack lots of houses in an area that used to be very open and accessible to people, we're disturbed by it because it's changing the complexion of our area, especially out in Carmichael and in Arden Arcade. And we don't seem to be able to get anybody's attention as far as our county supervisors to understand that what they're doing is really changing the nature of the way our area looks and feels. And those of us who have been there for 15, 20, 40 years are really upset about it. And so
How about the new people moving in?
Well, it's hard to know who the new people are that are moving in, because sometimes when these developers build these projects, they put fences around it and put gates at the door, and so you can't really...
Oh, so those are some of the things that some of the new neighbors are not next door neighbors to you in the older part of the...
No, it's not like they're next door neighbors in some cases. In some cases, these projects are projects of 30 homes, very close together, and they're what they call gated communities. So suddenly you have 4 houses in your backyard where in the past you may have only had one neighbor.
So you don't have a Connie Pinnell that's telling the no supervisor who's saying, you got to go to that neighborhood organization and get permission and...
Well, we don't have any structure set up where that happens. And our supervisors on occasion do encourage the developers to go and talk to the neighbors, but often that doesn't work out very well. And there is no formal structure that forces that to happen.
So is that one of the things your organization and you are looking to do, is create some structure?
We would like to see neighborhoods, especially in the unincorporated area, and I'm sure Gary feels this way about the city as well as the unincorporated area of the county. We would like to see neighborhoods have more knowledge, power, and say in what's going on. And really, the county supervisors have actually begun to embrace that idea, and we're happy to hear that. They have charged the staff, the county staff, to look into a way of giving the neighborhoods more empowerment, is the word that they use, more voice in what's going on in their neighborhoods. But I think our concern is that it's going to take a while for that structure to be established. And in the meantime, we're seeing a lot of these things just shoved down our throats.
Yeah. What, Gary, you want to say something about that infill?
Yeah, infill.
I like that word. It's an interesting word.
Infill is real important, and I'll just give you a sense of what's happening throughout the city. That's of great concern to neighborhoods. And
So what I'd like to say, if you're in a neighborhood and you're noticing some of this kinds of things going on that you don't like, give us a call and at 456-5199 and talk to Gary and to Barbara about this, and maybe they have some ideas on how you can organize or what you could do or what group you can join, or maybe they have some ideas on how you can start your own if there isn't one in your area. So do give us a call if you're concerned about what you see happening in your neighborhood.
Yeah, each neighborhood is a little bit different, and they'll have different issues to be concerned about. But one that troubles me greatly is the way the city is developing. If you think about Sacramento, you'll have lots of people moving out to move up housing in the suburbs. And so What's left in the city are older single-family homes that are becoming rentals. And 10 years ago, there was a census that found that half the people in Sacramento are renters. Now, if you have a lot of renters in your neighborhood, or where the owners of the property aren't there,
Kind of absent owners,
landlord,
Mm-hmm.
they're less, well, there's a couple things that happen. They're less likely to care about the looks of the property because they're just thinking about their income and
Waiting for their property values to go up.
waiting for their values to go up. And then the people who live there they're not owners, and so they don't feel that sense of this is mine and I want to take care of it and I belong here. So for a healthy neighborhood, you really want to have a good mix of owners that have a commitment and feel they belong there and want to stay and contribute.
Let me just say, if any of you are renters out there and you're listening, if you have a different viewpoint of who you are as renters, and maybe is that a stereotype, that renters aren't good, good neighbors, call us at 456-5199. Let us know who you are, and maybe there needs to be some kind of a renters group where you can, there's things that you can do and that your organization knows about, Gary and Barbara, that you can get your landlords to fix up the places. And I know I've had that problem as a homeowner. I was a landlady, and something that I'm not very good at, and I was a failure at it. I didn't make money. And we had a neighbor there who owned his own home, but he was a pack rat. And he had his lawn with everything from his washing machine and dryer to all kinds of junk out there. It was just a junk place, and the county didn't do anything about it.
Yeah, I don't want to suggest that renters are bad people.
Yeah,
I'm just
I know
saying
you don't,
that oftentimes when you do get a lot of rentals in the community, then that indicates that the owners are leaving town, and that's not a healthy sign. And there are parts of Sacramento where there's a high concentration of low-income people. When you have a lot of homes that are rentals, then they're Section 8 affordable. And I don't have anything against people of low income. It's just that when there's an over-concentration, like there is in parts of Sacramento, then what happens is all these children go to the same schools, and they get a poor education. And about 5 years ago, I made the connection that we are really dividing our communities between the haves and the have-nots. My heart goes out to poor kids that are born into families of low income. No choice of their own, but here they are. Their parents happen to be of low income, and because they can only live in certain communities, they all go to the same school. And in that situation, they don't have role models. They don't walk past nice houses and see nice cars. And it's a disadvantage and disservice to those people to not give them a decent place to live. And so I'm an advocate that every community should make room for people of low income. Now, I'm not saying that every neighborhood should have a housing project, because that's the wrong kind. So when we talk about infill development, we're really talking about appropriate development, where, like right now, there's a great opportunity in Sacramento to develop light rail. And if we look along the light rail lines as they cut through older communities and consider that an opportunity to create a renaissance, that we could build bike paths to the train stations, that we could develop stores around the train stations to where people can go to work, come home, stop at the baker's, pick up the kid,
a little
the
milk.
laundry, a little milk, and then walk home. That would really make the quality of life in Sacramento a lot better. So we'd like to see more investment.
Well, that's a great idea. Really, I really felt some goosebumps come up on that one.
Good. We want goosebumps.
I really trust my body. When it gets goosebumps, it means I've just heard something very exciting. Yeah, so Barbara, you had something.
Well, we also out in the unincorporated area, and I think that people need to understand the difference between the governmental structure in the city where you're working with the city council and what happens out in the unincorporated area.
Yeah, I'd be very interested in knowing that.
Where our only elected official are our county board of supervisors, and we have 5 supervisors, and they really wield a lot of power, and they make a lot of decisions that impact neighborhoods. And So we don't have a councilman like Gary has to go to. Gary can go to his supervisor and he can go to his councilman. Out in the unincorporated area, we can only go to our supervisors. And when you're represented by one person, but you know that you have to have 3 votes in order to get something passed or defeated at the Board of Supervisors, and those people are responsible to a very large area of the county, it's hard for issues that are close to the hearts of neighborhoods to be really felt by people because of the size of their because of the size of the area that they have to be responsible for. Plus, they're trying to be responsible for the whole county, so it's a
tough job. Would you like to do that, Barbara?
I don't know whether I'd like to do it or not. Maybe sometime in the future, but there's planning is just one issue that county supervisors deal with. They deal with air quality and transportation and regional transit and human services. So there's an awful lot on their plate. And but those of us in neighborhoods want them to pay attention to what we're going through and the issues that are close to us.
Yeah, and what's important to you is important to the county also, and to the people wanting to move to the county and people wanting to have their kids in the school. And if they are taking any cuts in anything, it might bring even more money to their pocket. And well, we're about ready for a break right now. So you can call us right now, even during the break, at 456-5199, and let's hear from you.
Sacramento's community radio, The Voice.
Looking for a critical examination of the major news stories every week? Looking for exposés on what the mainstream media might have missed in their own coverage? Looking for lively discussion and thoughtful critique of media? Then listen to Counterspin. Counterspin exposes and highlights biased and inaccurate news, censored stories, sexism, racism, and homophobia, the power of corporate influence, gaps and goofs by leading TV pundits, TV news' narrow political spectrum, attacks on free speech, and much more. Hear Counterspin Wednesday at noon and Thursday at midnight, right here on The Voice of Sacramento.
I'm into basketball. I'm really into art. I'm into photography. I'm into the environment. I'm into hanging out.
Are you into it? Well, here's your chance to find out. Get involved with a volunteer program for kids who care. You can participate in whatever you're into, hang with your buds, and help the community at the same time. So, are you into it? If you are, then give 4-H a call toll-free at 1-888-77-YOUTH for more info, or check out our website at www.areyouintoit.com.
I'm into everything.
A public service message brought to you by 4-H, the Cooperative Extension System, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Malik Yoba, and I play a cop on TV. When I was in high school, I got shot at point-blank range by another kid. My life almost ended.
Each day, 10 kids are shot dead. Call 1-800-WE-PREVENT for information on what you can do to help. Not one more lost life. Not one more grieving family. Not one more.
Getting shot changed my life. Don't wait for something to happen to you to take action. Get involved now. Not everyone gets a second chance.
A message from the U.S. Department of Justice, the Crime Prevention Coalition, and the Ad Council.
The Voice and Access Sacramento are helping to make a difference. Just ask Sharmi Silva of WEAVE.
WEAVE is an agency in Sacramento. It stands for Women Escaping a Violent Environment. Our agency's been around about 20 years. Mainly, we're an agency that offers counseling for victims of domestic violence or dating violence. We offer counseling for male perpetrators of domestic violence, and we also offer counseling for victims of sexual assault. I am creating a video for sexual assault awareness that I will be using in the classroom. I go out into many high schools throughout Sacramento, and I've been able to create the project by taking classes at Access to learn how to use the camera and do the editing, so I'm able to do everything myself.
Sharmi Silva is one of many Access members who've learned to help make a difference in our community. Get involved by becoming a member of Access Sacramento. Call us at 456-8600. Access Sacramento, making a difference, one voice at a time.
Sacramento, The Voice is your radio station.
Yes, welcome back to Action Callers, and we have our two guests with us today. We have Gary Page and Barbara Weiss, and they're from the neighborhood action groups here in Sacramento, and they have some wonderful ideas for how to make our communities better. And one of the ways to make it better, I'd like to announce that there's going to be a big senior rally, the 30th annual senior rally, this coming Wednesday, next Wednesday, May 24th, on the Capitol steps, and it's going to be all day, and it's called Aging with Dignity, a Foundation for the Future. And what they're going to be looking at is how to help seniors and persons with disabilities live independent lives, enhancing the quality of care and improving care facilities. So it's a very important rally to support. And just, get your bodies there. You don't have to be older people to get there. You can be younger people and support your parents and your grandparents and your great-grandparents and yourself for the future, because these things have to be done in advance, like these community groups know that you got to get things going early on. Otherwise, your kids are grown up before the parks are there. And when you grow older and there's no place for you to go. And some of the people who are going to be there speaking are Governor Gray Davis, and there's going to be the State Senate Committee Chair, John Vasconcellos, who will be speaking. He's on the Subcommittee for Aging and Long-Term Care, and Honorary Kevin Shelley, the Democratic floor leader of the Assembly. There's going to be even an open mic where you can get up if you have something to say, and that's at 11:50. And then there'll be lunch, and it starts at 10:30 there's going to be a musical interlude with Earl Peoples at 10:30. And there's going to be open mics, and then at 1:30 they're going to go visit the legislators and just storm the Capitol. And so there are going to be people coming from all over the state of California to this rally. So be there and see your old friends and some of the young friends that care about you, and get down there and get your walking shoes on and be ready to walk the halls of the legislature and have your, bring water and have your throat cleared out so you can speak and let people know what you really need. So let's find out more about our communities right now from Gary and Barbara.
Well, you mentioned seniors, so let me mention Age Well, which is a new organization that is really being spearheaded in this area by Irene Williams. And if you have an internet connection, you can go to seniors.org, and learn more about Age Well. And this is a group that is trying to help seniors improve the quality of their lives in Sacramento, and they offer a lot of good information on that website. So there's lots of ways to get involved, and over the years I've been involved, I've come to appreciate all the people that take time. And it's not just the leaders that are important to any group, it's all the people. And I'd like to just say that even if in a neighborhood, if you just smile at someone going by, if you think about quality of life in a neighborhood, part of it is just being friendly to your neighbor. Mm-hmm. Part of it is just waving and smiling, and that makes for a better quality of life. So if that's all you do, you're an action person.
Thanks. That's truly very true. Very true. I live in a community over in Campus Commons, and sometimes I think I'm the only one living there. People don't get out, and some people walk and some people don't. But it looks like a movie set, like the front of something, and there aren't a lot of people, and I haven't figured out how my community can become more engaged with one another. But I mean, people do wave and people do smile, but I think in that community, which is getting to be an older community, and I think people need different kind of support, and older people who maybe can't get out need the neighbor who lives next door. Like, I didn't even know my neighbors for a long time when I moved into Campus Commons. I mean, I didn't knock on anybody's door, and I didn't welcome people, and that was me. I didn't do that. It wasn't that people didn't do it to me. I was taking that stance. And then there was a crisis that happened, and it woke me up, and I started to get to know my neighbors. And Steve here, one of our engineers, our volunteer engineers, is a back neighbor for me. and the woman who puts together the tapes for our 7 o'clock show. She's a woman in her 80s. So she's doing a former attorney and judge, and she's doing the timing of the tapes that we're putting on. And so it's, I found some wonderful, wonderful people in my community once I got my backside up and went knocking on some doors.
But I think you hit the nail on the head when you said there was a crisis that occurred, and then I started to meet my neighbors. And often what we see with neighborhood groups or neighborhoods that have never been organized before is that there's some crisis or something that's impacting them, and that's when they begin to come together and coalesce as a neighborhood.
You get to know each other.
Right, but it's unfortunate
it is.
That it takes that kind of a situation to really bring people together. People should be coming together about positive things and not necessarily around negative things. And often when the crisis is over, the group starts to fall apart. And it's important that neighborhood groups that come together about a crisis and become organized around an issue remain organized so that they're prepared, because it's only a matter of time before something else is going to crop up that's going to affect them, especially with the way the things are changing in our area right now. There are transportation issues, there are air quality issues. Recently, the city is put in the newspaper, there was a proposal that the city wants to take over some of the unincorporated areas. Well, that's going to affect neighborhoods if that were to come about, and it's a long way down the road. But
would it affect them better, since then you'd have county people and you'd have city council people?
Some people think it may be better. Other people don't want to be taken over by the city. I mean, I think there's a long debate that's going to happen about that. But the point is that if neighborhoods aren't paying attention to those types of things, their opinions may not be heard and their ideas may not be registered with the elected officials. And so it's important that once a neighborhood gets organized, no matter what the issue was that brought them together, that they find ways to stay together. And they need to find positive things. I know in my neighborhood, for example, because a lot of the younger people are moving in, they want to do a welcoming, like a welcome wagon thing, where they put together a little information sheet about our neighborhood and about our neighborhood association, and bring a basket of flowers or a basket of muffins over to somebody when they move into the house, just to welcome them to the neighborhood.
Great.
And I think that's the kind of thing that we want to see happen in our neighborhood.
Now, whatever happened to the welcome lady? I when I moved into my first house down in Canoga Park in Southern California, that was really neat. I had never lived in a neighborhood before.
Yeah, communities have changed over time, and it's sad because a lot of communities now are designed in a way that you pull in, you hit the garage door opener, it sucks up your car, and that's all the neighbors see of you. And so we really make effort to get people out and to get them to meet each other, and we think it's an important part of the quality of your life. And there are a lot of people that are involved with soccer teams, involved with the school, high school sports, or garden clubs, things like that, that help provide meaning and recreation to people, and those are very important things. There's a process that neighborhoods can go through where they look at the assets in their community, and often we don't recognize how many things are really going on in our neighborhood until we take an inventory. And so that's part of community building, is taking an inventory of your assets and recognizing those folks, bringing them together, promoting them. And Campus Commons, I think, is a wonderful community for people who want a very quiet life.
Quiet life, yes. It's not too good for children.
No,
it is not children friendly, but we like our grandchildren when they come over for a couple of hours.
That's fine.
Yes, fine, right.
Yeah.
So it is, it is, we do have our board, and we have people who do work very hard to make the community stay beautiful, and, make sure the gardens and everything gets fixed. But it's, I know I've stayed away from being on the board or being active because I have a sense, my personality, I love the way the Campus Commons looks. It's always nice and clean, and it always looks nice and green. and we don't have, you know, trucks and stuff in our on our streets and things like that, and trailers, and I like that. But I'm kind of almost like a free thinker kind of person, and you know, if I was on the board, I might say, well, why don't we allow that, or you know, let up on the rules.
Yes, there's other communities like Gold River would be like that, where
yes,
everybody has very limited ways to express themselves, and communities that are different are sometimes fun. I've gotten calls before from people saying, well, my neighbor's painting it pink and purple. Is that okay? Or is there a rule against that? And I'm, you know, yes, this is America, and if you own a property and you want to paint it pink and purple, then you can do it in our neighborhood. So I think freedom of expression is one thing, and we're getting now a mix of people from many different cultures. Some people have never owned homes before, and they're learning. But every community.
Do you do some supporting of new people from, you know, different cultures to feel at home in the community and that kind of thing?
You know, we try. Like at our park day, we're going to have Latin Magic is one of the bands, and then we're going to have Inner Soul, which is another band, and they're ethnically driven, I suppose. It's a good combination of music where people will feel comfortable with it that live in our community, and we have a wonderful mix in our community. We have East Indians, we have Caucasians, African Americans, and Hispanic, and also we have Asian folks, and so we try to make them feel comfortable by having at our park days events where they can come. Like we have Jim G, who puts on a dance club for young kids. He goes around to schools and he organizes them so that they can learn their cultural dances. He'll come to Park Day, for example, and they'll perform for us. So there's lots of ways to include people and make them feel like they're part of America too, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's great. Is there any kind of maybe there's a listener listening in that's from your neighborhood or your neighborhood or some other neighborhoods? Is there any help that you need? Any specialized help, like some kind of an attorney that knows something about something or other, or, you know, somebody that's willing to volunteer? Maybe they're listening and are waiting for an invitation. Is there something that you need? Maybe somebody that even lives in another part of the city that might be helpful.
Absolutely. Let me put a plug in for North Laguna Creek, because that's where it's my home's at, and I'm more familiar with their needs right now. We have our website, and it's called northlagunacreek.org. And we have positions open on the board for people who are concerned about the park. If you'd like to get involved and love the park and make sure that it's kept nice, then there's a position there. And also for our wetlands area, we're unique in that we have our own wetlands area. It's a preserve. And so we're looking for people who care about the environment and want to help protect that. So there's always lots of opportunities to get involved, and whatever your skill, there's a place for you.
Okay, some of you Sierra Club people who are interested in wetlands, maybe you could go over and give them a hand. Maybe you know about how to really keep one of those up. That'd be great. What other issues do you think you might want to think about that you might want to bring to the listeners, or ways that you think they can help in this city, from other clubs, other organizations? And so if you'll just think about that would be great. And in a few moments we can talk about that. And just remember, everyone can serve, and everyone has something to contribute. Everyone is unique and has special talents, and many people do help, but we don't always see them. We'll be back in just a few moments.
You're listening to The Voice.
Don't touch the dial.
Okay, so we were going to get back to talking about
Well, one of the issues I think that's really important and has come up in some of our Northeast Neighborhood Coalition meetings is the whole issue around pedestrian access in Sacramento County. And out in our area, we're finding that there's a lot of our major streets that don't have sidewalks, and there's a group now in Sacramento called Walk Sacramento, and they're beginning to come together and address some of these issues. And I know out in my area, I worry about handicapped people that have to ride their wheelchairs in the streets along with the traffic that's going 40 and 50 miles an hour. So that's one of the issues that I think is really important. And as a matter of fact, at our last Northeast Neighborhoods Coalition meeting, we actually had some people from county transportation out, and we were talking to them about that and some of the other issues. Truck traffic on our major thoroughfares is bothersome for a lot of people whose neighborhoods back up to Watt Avenue and Hazel Avenue and Sunrise and Howe Avenue. And the county has organized a truck stakeholders panel, which meets for the first time next week, to actually come together and try to come up with some solutions to that. So I believe the county staff are starting to hear us, are starting to hear the neighborhoods and to understand that we are concerned about things that are going on in our neighborhoods, and we want to have something done about it.
Yeah, I was just thinking the other day, I keep thinking I want to have a bicycle. But when I get tired, I'd be tired just driving around Campus Commons, but there is the river and I've known some people who have gotten hurt on the river. They've been raped, and they've been hurt when they've gone out by themselves. And sometimes I want to go bicycle riding, and there's nobody to go with. Where can I go safely from my house? And there, Howe Avenue is a busy street.
Well, that's why
it's not even safe to have a bike.
That's why it's important to connect with your neighbors, because there's safety in numbers. And there's one group of ladies that come to the park every day with toddlers, and they swing them all at the same time. So the moms can chat and push their toddlers, and they can have some adult company at the same time the kids get a little recreation. Same thing with bikes. If you could get a group going in your community where there were 6 or 7 or 8, this is about action. Let's organize.
Yeah, that was one of my little complaints, and thank you for your for your coaching.
Yeah. But I'd like to bring a couple of concerns out. One is about a development that's going to be that's being proposed out in the county called Deer Creek Hills. Well, it's such a bad idea that a bunch of neighborhoods have allied against it. We formed an alliance called Defeat Deer Creek Hills. And this is where a developer wants to take land that he got for cheap and make a special place for seniors. And he's selling it like it's a good thing for seniors. But what he's doing is he's going into land that has been restricted by the county from development, because there's lots of opportunities to develop closer to town. And as we stretch all of our sewers and roads out to these isolated communities, we're subsidizing this. And so we're taking money away from the cities and urban areas that could be spent fixing up pedestrian pathways or fixing up our own neighborhoods, so that this particular developer can get windfall profits. So neighborhoods are against this kind of development, and there's an initiative to allow this developer to create his own zoning laws. And so if you go to the polls this November and you see something about Deer Creek, then please vote against it, because we don't want to have that kind of development.
Well, how is that different maybe than like Sun City that went out in Roseville, or the Sun City that's out in Lincoln now?
Yeah, well, in those cases, the developers...
How's that different?
Well, the developers worked with the local government and got their approval.
They did?
Yes, they did. In this case, the developer came to the county board of supervisors, and they were not going to approve his development. And so the county staff felt it was inappropriate growth right now. And from a senior citizen's perspective, talking with Irene, who's in charge of AgeWell, we really need to keep seniors closer to services and closer to communities. That there's many that will feel isolated and apart from their families.
So they're not planning buses or anything to
well,
take
they're
people
providing
out?
They're providing some service. But as far as making this a wonderful place for seniors, I think it will only apply to the very rich seniors. It's exclusive and will probably be more for Bay Area seniors and not for local seniors. So he's selling it, with the notion that this is a good thing, and he's using the senior citizen as a plug. But what's really happening to us locally is he's taking resources away. And we really want to keep seniors in our neighborhoods. When you talk about infill development, if we're going to have multiple family housing or low-income housing, we would prefer to have seniors occupy those housings in areas where there's already a lot of apartments, and it's more appropriate for that. So we need to plan for a senior boom as the baby boomers get older, and to help them be a part of our community so that they're not isolated. And this is what we call smart growth, and so we're real advocates for smart growth. And this project we would call dumb growth. Because it's going to pull away our senior assets, and it's going to stretch our resources, our infrastructure, and cost us more in the long run.
It reminds me when I was in my 20s, early 20s, after I just got married, a group of our friends got together for dinner one time, and we got to talking about, we like each other so much, let's build a community for ourselves. And we ought to think about it now, and maybe we can build it now. And then we started planning what we wanted in that community. We were trying to guess what we would be like. And so we had a lot of fun planning what we wanted, and we didn't do it. But I remember we wanted swimming pools that had a ramp so that you could go down in a wheelchair, and wider halls and that kind of thing, and so that the wheelchairs could go through there. And we had an idea of this was a funny one, where if somebody's husband died, then we'd have to share the husband. Whoever was left, and we'd have apartments be next door to each other.
One last plug for SCAN, which is the Sacramento County Alliance of Neighborhoods. As a neighborhood leader, I've been overwhelmed by all of the things I need to know. And I've really found that when you network with other neighborhoods, you gain knowledge, you gain from their experience, and you gain in power. So in SCAN, we're trying to unite all neighborhoods together.
Okay, and what phone number should they call to, if people want to become part of you or that kind of thing? How do they find you?
They can find us at our website, which is scancentral.org. And there we'll have information for them about community development and how to contact other people.
Great. Okay, well, thank you very much, Gary and Barbara. Gary, I want to say Gary Powers. No, Gary Page. What's Gary Powers?
He was the U-2 pilot that got shot down in Russia.
No, he got shot down in Russia, but then I think he was killed on a helicopter watching L.A. City or something.
Maybe. That guy too.
I think that's the same guy. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on the show, and if I get any calls after the show or email, you can email me at actioncallers at hotmail.com. So I would really like you to know that there are a lot of other things going on here in town, and so again, thank you, Gary and Barbara. And at this time, I'd like to acknowledge our growing number of volunteers who have graciously volunteered themselves and committed to being here every week with me. There's Steve Baylog, the transportation professional who does our engineering. And our second volunteer engineer is Michael Geller, attorney here in Sacramento, a workers' comp attorney. And third is Diane Matar, who has recently joined the new army of the active retiree. And I'm Reva Camiel, and your host, and I love you to call us and email us, and our email again is actioncallers@hotmail.com. This is a state-of-the-art program where we'll use every form of communication, written or spoken, to become seekers of solutions for our many problems that face our planet. Be part of the solution rather than being part of the problem. We will use the messes in our life to get semi-well-ordered solutions. Thanks so much, Barbara Weiss and Gary Page, for your ongoing energy towards creating a world that is ongoingly being created by all of us. Thank you all for your support to our community, planet Earth. Tune in next week at 6 p.m. on Access Sacramento, 91.5 FM for more great ideas for making positive change in our community. And you can reach me at 916-456-5199 or at actioncallers@hotmail.com. Right now, I'd like to say goodbye to you all and remind you that on May 21st, Old Sacramento will be having their 2000 Pacific Rim Street Festival with all kinds of food and wonderful things to eat. And on the 21st, there's the Animal Care Fair. And so goodbye for now, and great having you all with me.
Sacramento.